you came from. If you didn't have people to learn from, fine. You guys came from Avram Yitzchak and Yaakov. Says the Shloh, the Klalos weren't finished yet. How is there a pasuk of Nechama in the middle? There's one area that there's no danger. There's one area that HaKadosh Baruch Hu can't say that, oh, look who your forefathers were and look who you are. There's one area where every generation of Jews has been exactly like Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. And that is, turn over the page, you look at source number 9. In terms of Akedos, in terms of Mesiris Nefesh, sacrificing ourselves for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That says Reb Mirsky. Look in source number 9 in the Hagyoni Halacha. Source number 9 says Reb Mirsky, that is where we shine, just like the Avos. Rak Nisayon Akeda is Sheba Am Yisrael Askir Schus Nisayon. When we invoke the Schus of the Akeda, we have nothing negative. When we evoke the Schus of the Akeda, then we're right on par. And not only it was that we even did it, but we actually have gone through it. It wasn't just a potential. It wasn't just a, effort. It was actual. Kan mishtatik hakategar vikach sanegar mekomo. Here the sanegar, the kategar, the prosecutors are quiet. The infinite number of sacrifices that Am Yisrael have made in all the generations, right? Crusades and pogroms and blood libels and holocausts and terror attacks. It's never ending. Rahman al-Itzlan. How many more than any other generation? So regarding Akedos, no problem to mention the Akedah. There's no negative here. Every other schus, oh, look who your father was. Here, there's no negative. Because this is HaKadosh Baruch Hu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu recognizes that there's nothing for the Kategar to say. On line 3, the Gemara in Git talks about a story of a woman and her 7 children that gave themselves Kiddush Hashem, Yad Kiddushay Tachvatat, 1648, 1649. Yad Me'onei HaInquisition, Kiddushei Hashoah, V'Amtiras Nafsham Shel Chayalei Yisrael. In all the generations, we have Karbanos. And that schus is something that we stand proudly and we say, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we've given our lives for you. And that is the first element of Yom Hazikaron. When we recognize the ultimate sacrifice and we connect to the Jews in all the generations. All the generations who have had to give their lives, we connect to our rich and illustrious history. B'chol dar v'dar, omdim aleinu l'chalosenu. We recognize we're a link in the chain. We recognize we're a ring. We didn't start this. Hopefully, we'll end it. We didn't start it, and we hope that HaKadosh Baruch Hu heals all of the difficulties. It's on the couch. That is number one. Number one, we connect to. Hold on, Hanani, close the door, please. We connect to our generations, the Jewish people throughout the millennia. Number two, what else do we connect to? 1 second. We connect to Am Yisrael today. We connect to Am Yisrael today. Reb Dessler writes a very famous thought, which I mentioned in Wednesday night Shiurim before. In Chelik Aleph, have it there at source number 10. Herganu lachshov es hanasina mishpacha. Herganu lachshov. Let's close the door, please. Okay, we have Zoom at home. What can I do? Herganu lachshov es hanasina latodos ha'ava. We are used to thinking that giving is a result of love. Whoever a person loves, they give to. child is loved by their parents. The parents give the child everything because they love their child. Adam is pre-masav. So bahemu, a person gives because he feels. A person loves because he feels that that's what he's given to. When we give to someone, when we give to a project, we're connected to that project. When we give to a friend, we're connected to that friend. When we give in a relationship, we're connected to that relationship. Giving leads to love. Tesla writes in his famous quote, whether it's a child, whether it's a plant, whether it's a house, the more you put something into it, because then the more you get out of it. Today's a day that we connect to those who gave for others, the ultimate gift, who gave their lives. We recognize the tremendous love that these people have for Am Yisrael. They even give their lives for Am Yisrael. And giving leads to love, and that's the connection. Some of you might have heard, if not, there was I had a second cousin, 2002, 18 years ago, 18th yard site. He was a Talmud in Othniel. Some of you might know in the southern Hebron Hills. He was a Talmud there in the Shivat Hesder there. And one night, there's Toranut in every yeshiva. There are a few guys that work in the kitchen. And one Friday night, it was him and three other boys that they were on Toranut. And Rahman al-Islam, they were machablim. They were terrorists that broke into the kitchen and started shooting. And with his last bit of strength, Noam Apter, my cousin, there was a little door in between the kitchen and the rest of the Chadar Ochel. So he was able to close the door, lock it, and throw the key like somewhere to the other side that they couldn't find it for a few seconds as he fell down. And those few seconds, right, that was he was able to save the rest of the yeshiva. Because they couldn't get the door open to realize what was happening. He had a choice. His father told me in those few seconds, he seemed to have a choice of what to use his last strength for. To try to get the door locked, to give, to save, or maybe try to save himself, do something, to reach for his gun. He gave with his last bit of strength because he wanted to give, and he had such love for his fellow Talmidim. Laman ha'am, the koach hanasina that he gave. And really, after I made this shir, I remember I preparing it. There's a Rambam that's not on your sheet. There's an amazing Rambam and comment of Rav Kook, which again, it's fascinating. The Rambam writes in Hilchos Malachim, Perek Zayin, Halacha Tezvav. There's halacha. There's a mitzvah, very hard mitzvah. The mitzvah that when we're on the battlefield we can't be scared. That's the mitzvah. Ellie, you can go to the next page. Meanwhile, anyway, we're going to do 11 soon. Says the Rambam. Right, a person goes to war, he has to leave aside all of his fears. When a person goes onto the battlefield, Yishan al mikveh Yisrael, he should rely on Hashem, who saves him. You should know that he's fighting. It's a Melchemes mitzvah. He's fighting for Eretz Yisrael. He's fighting the wars of God. And fight with all his strength. And he shouldn't be focusing on his wife and children. Wipe away the memory of his family from his heart. Just focus on the war. Ask Rav Kook. Wouldn't it make more sense that he should be thinking about his family? Because if you think about your family, maybe you'll fight harder. Okay, maybe you'll be distracted, but if you really want to protect your family, the Rambam says you should wipe out the memory of your family when you go to battle. Wouldn't you fight better if you thought about your family? Says Rav Kook. If you want to look it up, it's in the Ein Aya. Rav Kook's Agadas Asfarim. He has on Brachas and Shabbos. Ein Aya. Aya is based on that's a phrase in Eov, I think. Aya is Avram Yitzchak HaKohen. Avram Yitzchak HaKohen Kook. Rav Kook says in Brachos, in Shabbos, in the 5th parak on Daf Nun Vav, because when a soldier goes to battle, he's no longer a yachid. He's part of Am Yisrael as a unit, as a tzibur. And he's no longer looked at as one individual. And that's what it means. He shouldn't think of his family because now he's tsiyer ba'atzmo kilu hisyaish min achayim apratiyim. Holechu besimcha. Amanas lomus mos giborim kedoshim b'melchemes Hashem l'romin keren la'amo. That's what this day is about. There are so many examples. Again, feel free to go online. Like I said yesterday, spend some time today learning about not just the general 22,000, but some of the stories. It's a day to reflect on giving. Giving, which is connection to Am Yisrael. Because the ultimate love is by giving, and giving one's life is obviously a greater gift than anything. The Gemara in Zvachim, we've spoken about this often. You have it there in source 12, 13, and 14. This Var you've heard from me before, but it connects to here. What binds us all together is remembering this act of giving. The Gemara in Zvachim, Kuf Tez Zayin, where the Gemara talks about that at the time of Maimon Har Sinai, the nations of the world did not know what was going on. So they came to the smartest person they knew at the time, and that is Bilam HaRasha. What happened? They didn't know what was going on. And they went to Bilam. They said, what's going on? Shema Mabel Bala Olam. Is there another Mabel? Is Hashem giving a Mabel? No, Hashem promised. Hashem promised no more Mabel. Amrulo, they say, okay, he promised no Mabel of water. Maybe he'll bring a Mabel of fire. No, he's not bringing a Mabel. Does Bilam answer? He has a special treasure in his house that's been hidden there for generations before the world was created. Hashem is giving the Torah to Bnei Yisrael. Hashem owes la'amo yitain. He's here, and they say, really? Hashem yivarech atzamo b'shal. That's the Gemara. And we mentioned the thought from Rabbi Shapiro, where Rabbi Shapiro says, why did they think it was a Mabel? Of all the things they could have thought, fine, they didn't know what was going on, but what's the connection between a Mabel and Maimon Har Sinai? This has Rabbi Shapiro, and again, this is a great, just back pocket 5-minute part that you could say over any time. There's the pasuk. Well, the question. Yeah, we'll start with the pasuk. There's the pasuk in Yeshayahu 13. Keves, the wolf and the sheep and the lions and the tigers, all the animals are going to get along in the future. It'll be an amazing prophetic vision. Yes, Rabbi Shapiro. Why is that so amazing? It happened once before. All creations, all the animals got together and lived in unison on the Teva. So what's so amazing that Yeshayahu is describing that all the animals are going to get along? It happened once before. So explains Rabbi Shapiro, no, it has not happened before. What Yeshayahu is talking about is not what happened on the Teva. And he explains that there are two types of achdus, two types of unity. One type of achdus is mitoch ein breira. Mitoch, there's a common enemy. Mitoch, we're all in this together, so, let's just get along with each other. If we're all in the same boat, literally. So I'm not going to drill a hole because we're all in the same boat. On the table, all the animals wanted to survive. You better get along with each other. That's achdus type 1. What Yeshayahu Navi is talking about is a different type of achdus. That's an achdus based on common goals and shared dreams and das v'kadosh baruch hu, connecting values. That's what Yeshayahu is talking about, and that's never happened before. Says Rabbi Shapiro. All the nations of the world saw Vayichan Sham Yisrael neged Ahar. That Bnei Yisrael were all neged Ahar. They were ba'achdus around the mountain. They asked Bilam, is there a mabel? Because that's the achdus they can understand. And Bilam says, no, this is a different type of achdus. This is an achdus based on commonality of vision, connecting to each other through common goals and shared values. And that's based on Torah and its values. Yom Hazikaron is a day where we connect to each other. I once heard a phrase, and if you listen, obviously not, but if you listen to Israeli radio, it's all talk shows the whole day, talking to families that lost, and hearing, all of them, even the Haredi radio stations. They all have the Yom HaZikaron, because it's a day that we call it a national hug. On the yard side of each person, Rahman al-Islam, that's the day they observe the yard side. But on Yom HaZikaron, it's the day that the whole Am is connected, because it's a day that we remember the gift, giving up one's life for the Am, and that is number 2. So number one message of Hazikaron is connecting to Am Yisrael throughout the generations, our ancestors. Number two, we connect to Am Yisrael today. We feel as a unit, we feel connected to Ish Echad V'Lev Echad, remembering the ultimate gift that so many people have given. And finally, number three, the third idea that we can think about, next page, is it connects us, obviously, to Eretz Yisrael. It connects us to Eretz Yisrael. We mentioned this recently, right? The Gemara tells us in Brachas Daf Hey, the first statement of Rav Shimon Bar Yochai in all of Shas, right here in source 15. Ani Rav Shimon Bar Yochai Omer, Shalosh Matanos, 3 gifts were given. Novos, Nasan HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yisrael. 3 great gifts were given to Am Yisrael. They're all hard work. Elohim, Torah, Eretz Yisrael, and Olam Haba. These are 3 gifts. These are 3 defining elements of our life. Of Yerucham, in the Das Torah, the great Mashgiach in Mir, said this means that all 3 are part of who we are and have to be who we are. And we mentioned this recently. He says, Eretz Yisrael, Eleinu hu mi'ikare haTorah, hu yisod kol haTorah kula. This is Rabbi Yerucham Levavitz talking, right? Eretz Yisrael. Lo lelech la'aretz, hine chalila kenu Yisrael. Mishi yomer Yisrael anochi, ulam lo Torah lo olam haba. Somebody says, I'm a full Jew, but without Torah. Crazy. I'm a full Jew without olam haba. Impossible. I'm a full Jew without Eretz Yisrael. It's the same impossibility. Impossibility. I once heard, again, it's a little tongue-in-cheek, and don't quote me on this, but somebody once said, there are 3 things that are unbelievably important and valuable, but because certain groups that were not religious came connected to them 100 years ago, 150 years ago, so many Shomrei Torah mitzvot stopped connecting to them. And what are those 3? Eretz Yisrael, Tanakh, and Lashon HaKodesh. Rambam writes in Pirkei Avos, Lashon HaKodesh is a mitzvah kala, God's language. Right? Eretz Yisrael, obviously, Tanakh. Because 150 years ago, some people who are not religious started connecting, to these 3 things. So sometimes Shomrei Torah mitzvah stop. No, it can't be. Eretz Yisrael is one of the 3 matanas. And today is a day that we can connect. Rav Eliezer Melamed is the Rav of many of you see, the Svarim, his halachic Svarim are very, very popular. Pinine Halacha, some are translated into English. He writes in 17, we must underscore soldiers' self-sacrifice in sanctifying God's name. We must emphasize that the rebirth of the Kibbutz Goliath, how they demonstrated to us that the prophecy, I don't know why the second half of this line should be before the first half, the rebirth of the Jewish Kibbutz Goliath. Is it worthwhile to give up one's life in this world for its sake? That's the key. Not just American people who sacrificed. We recognize that to have Jews in Eretz Yisrael is a worthwhile endeavor to give up one's life for. There's an unbelievable quote. You don't have it. Rabbi Riskin has a fascinating autobiography. He writes there that he once went to pay a shiva call. And on the shiva call he was visiting, it was terrible. He was visiting someone who had lost children in the Shoah, and then he lost children or lost family members. I remember the exact details in Eretz Yisrael. Their eldest son had been killed in the 6-day war, and now on the plane the way to Israel, I saw their second son was killed in action as well. V'chulu. He went to pay a shiva call, and at the end of the shiva call, he says, "Hamakom Yenachem Etzchem." And usually that means, right, Hamakom Hashem. The father of this, the father who lost 2 boys in the wars, said to Rabbi Riskin, let me explain something to you. What you just said gives me nechama. Sometimes people and Jews are killed for no reason. But a Jew that's killed fighting and protecting Eretz Yisrael, hamakom, the place, Eretz Yisrael itself gives me a nechama. Hamakom yenachem eschem. This is what the father told, because that's the connection that we have to this land. That's the connection. There's a Gemara that all of you are familiar with, the beginning of Maseches Kiddushin. And with this, we'll finish up the first half of our shir, then we'll get to the last part to wrap it up in the second half of the shir. Gemara says a Kiddushin, a very unusual makor. How do we know Kesef Kiddushin? How do we know that a woman can get married with money? Kesef Kiddushin. So the Gemara tells us, Zera Shava, Kicha Kicha Mistei Ephraim. Kesef used by Avram Avinu buying Marsa Machpelah, And kesef is used by kesef kiddush, kicha, kicha. Says the word kicha in both places. Fine. Ask the Bali Musar, ask the Mefarshim, what kind of source is that? Al pi hashkafa. Al pi hashkafa. What, getting married is like buying a piece of land? How are we supposed to understand that? Hashkafically. Kicha means to Ephraim. What does marriage have to do with buying property? So I once saw a pshat. No, it's exactly the opposite. Our connection to Eretz Yisrael is like a marriage. That's the connection. That's the depth of kicha mistei Ephraim. Our connection to Eretz Yisrael. We are eternally bound up in the history. We are the only nation, if you think about it, we are the only nation in the world history, thousands of years, that ever returned to their homeland, to their indigenous homeland after a 2,000-year break. Think about the time that we're living in. 2,000 years, we didn't live here. What other nation davens, prays every day to come back to their homeland, and they came back after thousands of years? No, a nation dispersed is done. Greeks and Romans and Persians, like they come back. The kibbutz goliath concept is unbelievable. That's because we're married. Because we're married to Eretz Yisrael, and there's a commitment on both sides. We would come back, and that's the other Gemara that I didn't give you, right? The Gemara that says that plants and trees aren't going to start sprouting until we come back. And Eretz Yisrael waited for us until the 1850s, until it started growing again. So that's the third point of Yom Hazikaron. It's a day to connect to Eretz Yisrael. Whether we actually live there or we're connected there, it's a day to appreciate what it is. So to summarize so far, Yom Hazikaron is a day that we connect to our past, our illustrious past. We remember Akedas, and that's something that we can hold our head high because we're no less than any of the other generations. Number two, we connect to the Am, Bizman Hazeh, the ultimate gift, and giving leads to love and connection of all of those who gave their lives. And number three, we connect to Eretz Yisrael. So let's bring a Lamaisa in all of these realms. Let's bring a Lamaisa. Connecting to our history and to our heritage. Connecting to our illustrious history. Do we realize how amazing it is to be a Jew, to be amongst the group of people that Hashem chose to be an Or Lagayim, to give 613 mitzvot, to be able to talk to him whenever we want, as B'ni B'chori Yisrael. The fascinating part of Rav Soloveitchik, maybe you've heard this before. The Rambam writes in the beginning of Hilchos Brachos, I think we did this last year. The Rambam writes in the beginning of Hilchos Brachos, the three categories of brachos, right? Birchat Shevach, praise, Birchat Hanenin, pleasure, and Birchat HaMitzvah, taking a bracha before we do a mitzvah. The Rambam says in source 19, Ukeshem shemevarchen al ha'ana, just like we make a bracha before we get pleasure on a food or a drink, ach mevarchen al kol mitzvah. So do we make a bracha on every mitzvah, yachar kach yaso, and then we do it. But just like we make a bracha before we eat, so do we make a bracha. Just like we make a bracha before we eat, so do on every mitzvah. Yes, Rabbi Soloveitchik, I don't understand. What's the kishem? You see, I underlined it. Kishem always means connecting conceptually. Rambam didn't have to say kishem. What is the connection between a birchas hamitzvah and a birchas hanehenin? What's a birchas hanehenin? A birchas hanehenin is a bracha on pleasure. The lumdus behind a bracha on pleasure is matir. Food is usher to me before I make a bracha. When I make a bracha and I recognize that Hashem is the source, I'm allowed to eat it, or to drink it, or to smell it. The bracha is matir, food. So what does that have to do with the birchas hamitzvah? Why does the Rambam connect the birchas hanenin to a birchas hamitzvah? The Rav is an unbelievable pshat. The Rav says that birchas hamitzvah, a mitzvah also needs a matir. You can't just go and do a mitzvah. What do you mean? Right? Who says that I could just decide I'm going to shake this myrtle branch and that's going to bring me close to God? I'm going to blow a shofar and that's going to bring me close to God. I'm going to daven. What gives us the right? We are physical, tiny, little blips on the screen of the universe. What gives us the right to try to connect to Hashem? What gives us the right to think? It's presumptuous to think that Hashem wants a relationship with us, or we can have a relationship with us. That's the bracha. When I recognize that He commanded us, Asher kiddushanu b'mitzvosav, He commanded us to do the mitzvah. So then I put it into a context. He's the commander, I'm the commanded. And once I do that, then I can do the mitzvah. That's an opportunity. That's a schus. And that's what we have been doing for thousands of years. Do we recognize the same lulav we shake, the Rambam shook, and Rabbi Akiva shook? The same mitzvos. Because this is what we celebrate. We celebrate our nachla that Hashem has given us. Every morning we wake up. I was talking to my wife this week. Imagine the average non-Jew in middle of America that's home with their kids every day for months. What do they do every morning? Okay, if you have work to do, let's say you don't have so much work to do and your kids have school for an hour or two, what do you do the rest of the day? Okay, you watch a lot of movies. You watch a lot of sports. Every day a Jew wakes up, we have a tafkid, we have something that we can wake up for. Davening and learning, and what do we want to accomplish today? And my Mishnah Seder, and my Parsha Seder, and there's always something to do. What chesed am I going to do today? Let me make a list of 2 people to call who I know are alone in their houses, and they would appreciate a phone call. There's always something to do. That's a schus that we have. And that should give us simcha. The Ramchal, the Masulas Yesharim. Actually, we'll do the Rambam first. The Rambam writes on the last Mishnah in Makos, arguably the most famous Mishnah in Shas. Arguably the most famous Mishnah in Shas. Hashem wanted to give us a schus, and therefore He gave us a lot of mitzvos. It's a question that the Rishonim already asked. Is it a schus to have so many mitzvos? Or would it be easier to have like 10 mitzvos? Give us 10 mitzvos. Why is it a schus to have 613? So many answers given. But one answer, the Maharal and others suggests, sometimes when we have a really strict teacher that gives a lot of work, we don't like the teacher. But we know the teacher is better for us. We know the teacher, more demanding, is better for us in the long run. And everything we do is going to count towards the mark. Rambam gives one shot, not for us now. But the more mitzvahs that we have is a schus. It's better for us. The Sefer Chinuch even writes, sometimes a Jew and a non-Jew might be mitzvah in the same thing, but you know what? A Jew has specific mitzvos. The Chinuch says there in Tav Zayin, the Isser of kinah, of jealousy. Non-Jews are also mitzvah in that, but it's included in Gezel. The Jew has mitzvahs, specific mitzvos. Gezel, lo sesaveh, lo sachmod. Hashem wants to give us more zechuyos because it's more responsibility. More responsibility brings more privilege. We recognize what we're part of. We recognize what we have the schus to be part of. The Masulas Yesharim, the Ramchal writes, there shouldn't be any greater simcha that we have to recognize that we are an Eved Hashem. I think I mentioned before a story, I think it's of Rav Yonasan Eibeshitz. One time his Talmidim were listening, I mentioned it in Wednesday night, I'm sure, this year at least once. His Talmidim were listening to him say brachas in shul one morning, and they listened and they thought he skipped a bracha. Listen, the next day and he skipped it. They said, Rabbi, you skipped the bracha. They're like, he said, what bracha? What are you talking about? He says, you skipped Shalom Asani Goy. And he starts laughing at them. And they say, what? And he says, you think I'm going to wait till I get to shul to say Shalom Asani Goy? Because I wake up in the morning, Modani Lefanecha. I'm so excited to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to daven, to learn. I can't wait till I get to shul. Because he recognized the simcha that we stand proudly in the shoes of Avram Avinu. We connect to him through remembering the Mesiras Nefesh of Jews throughout history. And we proudly take our place in Am Yisrael. That's all message number 1. Connecting to our history and our heritage. Connecting to Am Yisrael. Number 2 out of 3. Connecting to Am. We spoke about the giving and the Am. We are Kuguf Echad. Like Bilam said, Ba'achtus. Hashem Yivarech Hazamo Bashalom. There's an important comment of the Meshech Chachma. The Gemara in Yuma tells us that the first Beis HaMikdash was destroyed. We know Pesam Abayz, the first Beis HaMikdash was the big 3 Averos. Second Beis HaMikdash, Sinat Chinam. As we know, source 24 on the bottom of the page. Ula Meidcha Teshkula Sinat Chinam Kineged Shalosh Averos. Avodah Zarah, Gilarai, Shvichas Damim. Sinas Chinam is connected to the big three. And as is pointed out, it's not just connected, it's even worse. The big three, we got the base of Mikdash back 70 years later. Here it's almost 2,000 years. Almost 2,000 years. Why is it so much worse? Explains the Meshech Chachma in Parshas B'Shalach. Again, a lot of these are Yesodistic sources. Please, if you have time, read them. We're not reading them so much inside, but feel free to read them afterwards at some point. It says the Meshech Chachma. When it comes to national issues, Hashem is much more focused on Ben Adam L'Chavero than on Ben Adam L'Mako. When it comes to personal issues, okay, Ben Adam L'Mako. But when it comes to national, what does Hashem get more upset about? When the whole nation is doing Avodah Zarah, even? Or when the whole nation is doing Sinat China, the latter? Says the Meshech Chachma. When it comes, look in the middle of his words, line 7. Ava b'nimusios umidos lashon haro machlokes. Alzeh kasev ruma al shamayim kaviyachol silek shchinasam ham. It's like a parent. Parents, when kids are fighting, the parent can't take it. Okay, you won't be perfect. When the children are fighting with each other, it's so frustrating. And it's so painful to the parent because it's something that they can't live with. And that's what we have to recognize. And today's a day where we have to think about each other, to think about how we could improve and build on the connection that we have with our fellow Jews, especially the ones that are not exactly like us. Maybe some of the guys in the shiur, some of the guys in the program, some of the guys in the neighborhood I'm not so close with. How can I get closer with them? I think I've told you this story before. I lived in Borough Park. First 7 years of my marriage, I davened in a little shul, and there was a Rabbi Chiel in the shul. An old man. I highly doubt, it was 20 years ago, I highly doubt he's still halavai should be amongst the living. I just don't think so. But anyway, he learned in Radin with the Chavetz Chaim as a teenager. And I asked him once, tell me some stories about the Chavetz Chaim. He says the Chavetz Chaim was always crying. Always crying. Why? He would hear about a tzara of a fellow Jew. Somebody is going through a difficulty, he would start crying as if it was his own daughter. He would be in their shoes. He'd hear about someone who got engaged after he was going out for so many years, he'd start crying. It's as if it was his own family. That was the Chavetz Chaim's Avas Yisrael. He was in their shoes. So again, I don't know if we're going to get there, but at least something we have to connect to. We have to connect to Am Yisrael as much as we can, especially, obviously, in this time period where we know Jews are going through difficulty. The world is going through difficulty. Think, what can we do? What can we do for a fellow person who's in more difficult straits? What can we do? Maybe we could sit in and schmooze with somebody, learn with somebody, whatever it is, somebody who's having more difficulty, who's alone. I just saw yesterday a story on the news. Fascinating. It was somebody who lives in Amsterdam, and his mother is a senior. She's 96. She's in an old age home, retirement home, and she hasn't left the house in weeks. And he hasn't seen his mother in weeks, and his mother is like half deaf, so she can't really communicate on the phone. So he didn't know what to do because she's also not well. So he called up a crane. She lives on the 3rd floor. He called up a crane company in Amsterdam and told him the story that, I want to go visit my mother. You think there's any way I could rent a crane for a couple hours so you can lift me up and I could be outside my mother's window and talk to her? And the crane operator says, I have to call you back. I have to call my supervisor. The owner of the crane company is Israeli. He hears about it. It's a Jewish old age home. He says, sure, I'll do it for you, and I'll do it for free. And tell anybody else, put it out. If there's anyone else that has any relatives here in the building, you got it. It's on me. Ein kamo Am Yisrael. We're all a family. We're all connected. I saw that story. You can find it. I'm sure it's Google it. I saw it yesterday online. It's really amazing. But it's a day to connect to Am Yisrael. So it's a day to connect to our heritage, connect to the Am. There's a fascinating ha'ara, the Baruch Sha'amar, Rabbi Halevi Epstein says, the 10 miracles that happened to the Beis Hamikdash every day. Source 26. One of the 10 miracles was the last one. Right? Nobody says, the miracle was, nobody says that it's too squishy. When all the Jews, all the millions of Jews go up to Yerushalayim, nobody says it's too squishy. No room. So the Baruch Sha'amar says, it doesn't say that there was room. It doesn't say that there was plenty of room. It just says nobody complained about it. It was squishy. Nobody complained about it because when you have love, if everybody else is your brother, you're not going to complain about it. You love them. It was squishy, okay. That's the nace. But that's what we have to strive for. That's what we have to strive for. That's number 2. And finally, connecting to Eretz Yisrael. We have to recognize, like Rav Shimon Bar Yochai taught us, that it is a matana, it is a gift. We need to deepen our appreciation of this gift. The Rav, they put out a couple of years ago, is a berchon, a bencher of Reb Soloveitchik, with his varts. So on benching, we have it there in source 27, we say Eretz Chemda Tova Urechava. What does that mean? Desirous land, Eretz Chemda. The Rav says, where do we find Chemda in the Torah? We find it in Parshas Bereishis. That Torah, that the tree was called Nechmad Lamara. Nechmad Lamara. What is Nechmad Lamara here? Reb Soloveitchik explains that Chava, there was some type of magnetic pull that she had to the tree. She was drawn to it. She couldn't stop herself. When Eve saw the tree, she fell under its spell, and like a sleepwalker, almost involuntarily reached out for its fruit. She couldn't control herself. That's what Chemda means. It says the Rav. That's what we have to feel for Eretz Yisrael. We have to figure out a way to feel its attraction. If we don't feel it already, this inexplainable pull. And when we're in Chutz La'aretz, we have to feel like we're missing something. At no point in our long, painful diaspora did we ever give up on Eretz Yisrael, says the Rav. And that's why it's called an Eretz Chemda. And every Jew has to connect to Eretz Yisrael. And today is the day that we do that. Look in source 28. Hagyon Halacha goes to Beis Yaakov. Beis Yaakov, I think, was the second Rav of Ishbitz. The first was the Me'er Shiloach, the Ishbitzer. His son, the Beis Yaakov, he points out also about benching. The first bracha benching, and it's a great part to say because you can say this every day because it's about benching. In benching, the first bracha is in third person. Hu nosein lechem l'chol basar. U'v'tuvo hagadol tamid lo chasar lanu. The second bracha is first person. No delacha al shen chalta al shotzi sanu. Why the switch? Why do we start off distant and then get close and come straight? Explain the Ishbitzer, explains the Beis Yaakov. Who wrote the first bracha of benching? Who wrote the second bracha of benching? The first bracha of benching was Moshe Rabbeinu when the mun fell. Second bracha of benching was Yeshua ben Nun when they came into Eretz Yisrael. There's a certain level of closeness that a Jew can only have to HaKadosh Baruch Hu in Eretz Yisrael. And even Moshe Rabbeinu didn't have that. Because he was in Chutz La'aretz, he never was zochet to come in. And that's the switch of Yeshua ben Nun. The next time we bench and we say, no doubt, l'cha, let us recognize and remember the special connection that we have. And the direct hashkacha, the Ramban, again, we're not going to review it now, but remember the Ramban in Parashat Achremot, source 29, where the Ramban talks about only Eretz Yisrael as direct hashkacha in Eretz Yisrael. It's not indirect, And every day is a nace, surrounded by millions of Arabs. Think about it. It made no sense. I just was watching today. It made no sense that the Jewish people, they called the Jewish chutzpah in 1948 when they were machris on the state. There were 600,000 Jews, and there were 2 million Arabs. Anybody think they had a chance? Secretary of Defense or the Foreign Minister of America said to the President of Israel, I don't know what you're doing because you're not going to have a chance. HaKadosh Baruch Hu somehow protects us. The direct hashkacha here makes no sense. We're surrounded by billions of people who would rather that we're not here. But Am Yisrael and Eretz Yisrael. HaKadosh Baruch Hu watches over this land with a divine protection. Remember, we said the first time that he spoke to each of the Avos, who was mentioning Eretz Yisrael. First time he spoke to Avram Avinu, Lech Lecha, Yitzchak, Yaakov. We have to recognize that today, Yom Hazikaron is a day that we think about our connection to Eretz Yisrael. The day that many people gave their lives for Jews to be here. And that is something that we can never forget. So when we think about Yom HaZikaron, and again, I'm telling you, I did not have these feelings or this experience until I made Aliyah. Like Yom HaZikaron in America, it was nothing. It was a regular, even Yom HaTzmut, I was like, okay, that night you have a chagiga. But Yom HaZikaron was like, I didn't even know about it. Living here and experiencing it and thinking about it, it's an unbelievable day. It's an unbelievable day to think, and it doesn't matter what. This is not a political question. This is just a Jewish question. The day that we remember, people who gave their lives. I once said, and I believe it. I don't. Derech Teva, it's never going to happen. But I think Be'ez Hashem Mehiri Baneh Pasach Bate Knesios, that all shuls in the world should open soon. One Shabbos, every single minyan in the world says the Mishaberach for the Chayalim. I think Mashiach will come the next day. Mishaberach for the Chayalim is just a Mishaberach that the soldiers are protected. The soldiers that are fighting for Eretz Yisrael are protected. There's nothing, say the words Tzva Agana Yisrael. Yes, that's the name of their army. But there's nothing political in that paragraph. There's nothing political in the other paragraph either, but we'll talk about that tomorrow night. If every shtibel, if every minyan would say the Mishaberach for the Chayalim, one Shabbos, I believe that Mashiach will come. But we're not there yet. But it's a day that we could recognize. And again, it's not our job to judge others. It's our job to just try to spread the love and appreciate this day of a day to connecting to our great heritage, a day of connecting to our nation, and a day of connecting to Eretz Yisrael. Let's appreciate the day, and B'ez Hashem, we should be zocheh to Chiyas HaMesim and just Yeshuos and Refuos and Geulos from Yisrael. Okay, we'll stop here.